Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, All In Health and Wellness. If you're looking for a health coach, you're looking for a sports performance coach, you're looking for nutrition guidance, like for instance, a meal-by-meal plan that will help you understand how to eat. It will teach you how to eat, and it will give your body, your cells, the proper nutrition to feel great and be able to perform at your best, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally. If you're looking for those things, you're looking for the key to improve your sports performance, both from a nutrition standpoint and an exercise physical standpoint and a mental standpoint as you approach your athletic event. All In Health and Wellness is able to help in these areas. Go to allinhealthandwellness.com and you'll find the contact information for how to get in touch with them and get started on the plan that will improve your life. Well, Kyle, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about confidence through health, right?
Right. And so you're part of the Longevity Center and the work that you do there, and we'll get into a lot of like why you got into this and what's driving you and all of those things. But before we do all that, when we talk about longevity, like what does longevity mean to you?
Yeah, longevity to me is because there's a lot of talk right now about health span versus
Right.
lifespan.
Right.
I tend to think, why not both?
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
So I don't necessarily want to just live longer to live longer.
Right.
If you have a terrible quality of life, it's not really worth it.
Sure.
But I also don't subscribe to the like, hey, we're going to live to 80, 90, 100, but we're going to do it really well because that's all we can do.
Yeah.
So I think there's some synergy, some middle ground, and to really dial down on what longevity is to me. I think before we can talk about all the cool sciencey life extension things, we've got to get rid of the disruptors, right? And the disruptors are toxins, trauma, pesticides, molds, heavy metals, you name it.
Yeah.
So before we can even talk about crazy things like gene therapy and clotho and stuff like that, we've got to dial in on, hey, how do we make sure our bodies are optimally functioning and we're getting rid of the things that are holding back how we operate right now that could cause disease in 5, 10, 20 years.
Right. Well, and that's actually leads right into my next point and that I want you to comment on is because when we are exposed to these toxins and heavy metals and microplastics and all the different things that are coming out that like, oh, hey, these things are dangerous to you, right? Maybe we knew about it before, but now it's like really becoming, okay, these are leading to different diseases and issues. How much of that is that the toxin itself doing that, or it's just like you said, disrupting the body's function, and so the body just can't do what it wants to do?
Yeah. I think it's honestly, again, I hate to be this guy, but it's kind of both again.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some things, and if you look at like what it is specifically, like if you're talking about heavy metals, they kind of work on both pathways. Like mercury is toxic to humans.
Right.
But the flip side of that is, how it interacts with minerals and receptors in the body also disrupts that entire mineral cascade and signaling process. Yeah. So there's a little bit of both. When it comes to like the actual functioning of the body, I think the primary driver is going to be the disruption, though.
Yeah.
I think over time, because it's truly rare if we're exposed to such quantities of something that's truly toxic to our health, like a cyanide pill for those who watch spy movies.
Yeah.
But all these little micro exposures to pesticides, the glyphosate, the mercury, the aluminum, like all these things, that's the little disruptions they're causing. And then from there, it's the cascade of the breakdown of the processes the body's supposed to engage in.
Well, and that's, one of the things that I thought about this yesterday because it's probably been a year now that I've actually been focused on paying attention to which way the wind's blowing when I pump gas. Right. So I'm staying away from the fumes as much as possible. And noticed that, like, as I was pumping gas yesterday and making sure that I was upwind of the fumes, that I was noticing how many people were just soaking up those gas fumes,
Hmm.
and granted, okay, it's a minor exposure at that moment, but how many times do we expose ourselves to that in a lifetime?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
and I think like just being cognizant is the biggest step.
Hmm.
So if we can start in the home, right? All of
Yeah.
the little things, plastic Tupperware, like
Right.
just switch to glass. And I'm not saying spend a bunch of money and upgrade. Like
Right.
I just bought a set. It's like $27, right?
Right.
And it's just because my old stuff died
Mhm.
and I switched it out.
Yeah.
You know, non-stick pans, EWG certified cleaning products, self-care products,
Right.
and just those little things that you're exposed to on a daily basis that you
Mhm.
have direct control over. I think that's
Yeah.
where you can start to move the needle.
Yeah. Well, and with the glass, we started doing that a couple of years ago, and yeah, it was okay. I've got and a lot of our glass containers are pickle jars or spaghetti sauce jars that just you take the label off and boom, you reuse it.
Mhm.
So you can go out and spend all the money and do everything and brand new set of everything, or you can just, as you said, as things come up, just recycle throughout and just replace with something that's going to be able to. And I started doing that with my drinking glasses. Right, no more plastic. I'm all glass, or stainless steel. Trying to avoid as much contact because it's it's those things that just the disruption that they cause is not just. And I don't look at it as just as like, okay, it's disrupting my function today, but like you said, it's like that compounding of, and once you hit that cascade point, like it's hard to come over, right? It's hard to
Yeah.
reverse that.
Hmm. Yeah. And I try to approach it from like an 80-20 perspective, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, obviously, I'm in the longevity industry,
Mhm.
right? But I am not one of these. I'm a self-proclaimed biohacker, but
Right.
I'm not one of these guys that will go to the nth degree to make sure everything is as clean as humanly possible
Right.
because I have to live my life.
Sure.
So like the things I can control easily at home, those are
Mhm.
easy. Like
Yeah.
it makes no difference to me the ingredients in my shampoo.
Right.
I do not care.
Yeah.
Like, and that was an easy switch.
Mhm.
But things like, am I going to go walking downtown and be concerned about if there happen to be traffic, a bunch of traffic? Like, no, that's part of my life.
Right.
We're going to live my life. I'm not going to worry about that. And
Right.
I think that's a big thing that people lose sight of, especially in
Mhm.
podcasting and like online.
Yeah.
They're like, you have to clean everything.
Right.
And I think Dave Asprey might have said this. He said something to the effect of half of the damage from mold exposure is freaking out and spiking your cortisol that you've been exposed to mold.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that's like, I was on a flight. I traveled this weekend, and the flight back, uh, it happened to be like a not full flight. So like the middle seat was empty. The lady sat down on the aisle seat. She sat down and then she grabbed out her, towelette and she started wiping everything down and wiping the seat down and wiping everything. And I was like, okay, that's an extreme, like, wow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I understand you don't want to get sick, you don't want to get germs, you don't want to. But the flip side of that is if you're doing the little things that you can control in your home and then your immune system is going to be high enough to combat those other things that you come in contact with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
and
should
that's
be, at
actually
least.
yeah, and that's actually a lot of what we do as well. Like the other part about why I'm not absolutely just crazy about toxins and constant exposure is, you know, I'm fortunately with the businesses that I help run, they like part of what we do is clean out that stuff.
Right.
So there are things nowadays. EVU is a great example. Extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation.
Mhm.
It's like an oil change for the body
Yeah.
that will literally clear a significant amount of pesticides,
Right.
a significant amount of mold toxins in an hour.
Oh, wow.
So I would rather, to some degree, control the things I can,
Mhm.
and live my life and then mop
Yep.
up the damage every once in a while.
Right. Right.
Because what's the point in living a clean, healthy, long life if you feel great, but you were worried about every little exposure all the time?
Sure. Yeah. Because that's not living a great life if you're
No.
constantly worried or concerned, or what's the next thing I'm getting exposed to, or um and but like so the detox piece, right? To okay, I know I've been exposed to something, right? And like I can feel it starting to slow my body down. I'm starting to feel sluggish, whatever. Like how how like how in depth is that detox like for people to go through?
It really depends on your exposures.
Mhm.
I mean, it is person to person, and everybody's journey for detox looks slightly different. Um, we have some patients that come in the clinic and they might need 2 to 4 treatments
Right.
out the door.
Okay.
Maybe come do some blood work with us in 2 or 3 years. You're
Mhm.
doing great. See
Right. Yeah.
you. But then we have some patients that are like, well, you're going to be our best friend for the next 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, you're dealing with a massive set of toxins and co-infections and
Right.
exposures that all have to be systematically taken down
Mhm.
in order to get you where you want to be.
Right. Is there a specific, maybe not a specific thing, but a specific or a general classification of things that are more dangerous than others?
For detox?
Yeah, that we should be
Yeah.
avoiding.
Yeah. I mean, this drives me nuts, man. This is a problem with the industry, right?
Yeah.
Detox is a buzzword,
Right.
right? Like I gotta detox.
Yeah.
Your smoothie detox, your juices, no.
Right. Yeah.
Like it doesn't do anything. If
Yeah.
anything, you actually might add more toxins depending on what you're putting in the juice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff does not function.
Yeah.
So usually when you look at people marketing or selling detox, um, just off its face, be skeptical.
Mhm.
You should just approach with caution.
Yeah.
Because if you have not done the testing beforehand
Mhm.
to know what you're exposed to,
Right.
then you don't know what to detox and you don't know how you're going to react to those detox agents.
Right.
A good example here is like mercury.
Mhm.
So if someone has very low mercury levels, doing a high dose cilantro smoothie
Mhm.
to help clear some of that mercury is probably a good idea.
Right.
If you have very high mercury levels, that is a horrendous idea. It's actually
Mm.
very dangerous because cilantro is a weak binder to mercury, which
Okay.
means it's not going to bind permanently and excrete from the body. It's going to bind temporarily and going to drop it off somewhere else and going to drop it off
Ooh.
somewhere else and
Yeah.
can cause this cascade of moving toxins through your body that has this terrible downstream effect.
Right.
So, most things in terms of all natural detox, buy my supplement detox program, all of that stuff, just probably don't.
Right.
It's if you are detoxing with a supplement,
Yeah.
you either are one in two camps. One, you have such a light toxic burden that the supplement is just going to handle it,
Mhm.
and that's probably very few people.
Right.
Or you are simply having no clue on where to start and you're just playing around and guessing, and that's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah.
So I guess if I can wrap all that up in one simplistic statement is test,
Yeah.
right? Go get a heavy metal provocation test. Go get comprehensive lab work. When I say comprehensive, I mean like something like function with all the add-ons type deal.
Right. Right.
Um, go do maybe a total toxin test or my mycolabs test. Once you find out what you have, then work with someone who knows what they're doing to be able to approach that from
Right.
a systemic and appropriate point of view using whatever tools they need to for that.
Mhm. So when you're testing, or when somebody goes in and gets a test done and they're seeing all these things, are there certain, you know, toxins, metals, microplastics that show up in, like, oh, if you're exposed to this, it's going to be more likely you're going to have, this system that's failing, right? Like, or it's like this toxin's going to affect the liver more than anything else, or that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
or is
Yeah.
it just individual, you know,
To some
happenstance?
degree, yeah, to some degree it's individual because the reactions can differ. But there are telltale signs of specific toxins, like lead poisoning, high levels of lead
Yeah.
looks very different from high levels of mercury. When you get the high levels of mercury, you're getting the more nervous system
Mhm.
interactions, the endocrine system.
Yeah.
Um, it it can really be dependent. This is where there's like a practitioner, like I don't even know how to say it. My business partner, Dr. Benjamin Kosubetsky, our practitioner,
Hmm.
he has this sixth sense, right? And he can listen to the symptoms and listen to the
Right.
person and understand their history and then be like, this is the test we're going to do for you.
Right.
And his hit rate is pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty dang good. So
Well, and
there,
that's what you're looking for when you're dealing with something, right? Is you're looking
mhm,
for, like, you don't want to just go, oh, I'm going to do this test and that didn't work, and this test and that didn't work, and this test and like, because not only can that be obviously cost prohibitive, but then you're getting frustrated because it's like, well, what is the problem?
yeah. Well, and again, that's how we approach it as well. Like when someone comes in, like our model at longevity centers is to try to make these type of therapies accessible.
Right.
Um, on its face, it's still not cheap, but we're a heck of a lot better price than most other places.
Hmm.
And so part of that is the onboarding and how we bring in a patient.
Right.
When a patient starts with us, we are not like $5,000 of testing. We're going to do all the stuff.
Yeah.
That is great for your executive physicals and someone who's just, really succeeded in life and just wants to check everything out. Amazing.
Sure.
If you want to do that, we can. But
Sure.
most people, we start with comprehensive blood work that's ran through their insurance. So their insurance covers whatever they cover.
Right.
From there and their symptoms and their goals, then our practitioners will guide exactly how to take the next step. Hey, we might want this specialty test or these two tests,
Yeah.
or I don't think we need any specialty test. You just need some hormone balancing.
Mhm. Right. Which again goes back to, you may not have a high toxin load, but it's doing just enough to disrupt everything else.
Yep.
It throws everything out of balance. And so, if we just balance these other functions, you can live with the toxicity that you've got.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
what blows me away is the mold community. I'm not sure how
mhm.
far you've delved into the
Yep.
mold Reddits,
Yep.
but years and years ago, I thought I had mold poisoning. And so I was deep into that.
Hmm.
And the whole community seems to shout, like, you have to stay away from mold.
Right.
You can never be exposed to mold again, or else your entire system's going to fail.
Right.
And time again, we've seen with our patients, when you treat the root and you treat it systemically,
Hmm.
you actually build that tolerance and you can live a
Hmm.
normal life.
Right. And that's what we're looking for, right? It's like, the and I know that's one of the things that we've sort of created the problem a little bit, in that vacuum sealed housing type of, situation. Like, everything's like is bacteria free, and you know but not getting that exposure to nature, and exposure to, in like, in testing our immune system, if you will, on a regular basis, like that actually is hurting us versus helping us, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm a big believer of like inorganic toxins we should
Hmm.
avoid. So these are things like mercury, like
Right.
lead, microplastics, inorganic, not living.
Right.
Um, when it comes to bacteria, viruses, yeah, we should avoid infection.
Hmm.
But I'm not going to live my life in a bubble.
Right.
A lot of times I can be around sick people, never get sick. It just
Yeah.
happens quite frequently.
Yeah. And that's also a good sign of, like, a high functioning immune system. But if you're around people all the time and you're always getting sick, like, that should be a trigger that, like, okay, you could have autoimmune issues going on, or something else going on that's like
Hmm.
triggering all that. But a lot of times it's your toxicity load it can't handle, and so it's, there's too many fires to put out.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not flashy to say this, but again, you don't know anything until you test
Yeah.
because you could have crazy amounts of heavy metals and Epstein-Barr virus and four other things, right?
Yeah.
and that could be what's causing you to be sick all the time.
Mhm.
Or you could have a vitamin D of 13,
Yeah.
you know? Like, and
Yeah.
until we start testing, and our general approach is like, hey, let's get the easy lifts first.
Sure.
Like, if your vitamin D is super low, well, let's get your vitamin D up.
Yeah.
Then we'll see how you feel.
Yeah.
Are we going to recommend a $10,000 course of treatment that's just going to systemically treat all these potential latent viruses if we could solve it with a $50 of vitamin D? No.
Right. Right. So how much of, because I know that obviously our body can handle a certain amount of toxicity, right? And
Mhm.
there's certain things that are just going to stay in our body no matter what until we go through one of those really high protocol, like, you know,
Mhm.
processes to detox it out. But like, how much of that is, like you said, a vitamin D or something else that's off? And so once we get that level, it's like, oh, yeah, you have some toxicity, but we don't need to worry about it because it's not at a dangerous level.
Yeah.
Is that,
This is where the biohacker in me comes out a little bit,
yeah.
right? Because there's actually a large subset of people, and I'm just throwing a number. This is not based in fact, but this is just
Mhm.
kind of a vibe. Probably a third of people with some basic vitamins, minerals, and hormone
Mhm.
balancing can be good to go.
Yeah.
Um, and then the optimization side of me says, like, eventually, though, one by one, let's just do the tests
Yeah.
and then clear things just one by one. But it's no rush, right?
Right.
Then you can
Right.
take your sweet time
Yeah.
because you're going to be able to clear it a lot faster than you're accumulating.
Mhm. And especially if you know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
because you may have a toxicity level at a certain amount, and like, okay, hey, your mercury's starting to increase, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to avoid that
Yeah.
and not increase the problem, but not necessarily go through all the detox yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I can
Yeah.
live a life that's like, okay, I'm not experiencing symptoms on a daily basis and having issues and
Yeah.
uh,
And if you get the basics right, if you get solid vitamins and minerals, solid exercise, solid movement, clean water, and
mhm,
clean up the basic exposures, most people's systems will start to detox themselves a lot
mhm,
better.
yeah,
Like it'll just happen. The body wasn't meant to be a thing that just sees a toxin, grabs it, and holds onto it forever,
right,
right? It's just the amount of stuff in the
yeah,
environment is so much that the body can't handle it.
yeah,
But if you clean up the basics, if you're moving, if you're exercising, if you're drinking clean water and you've got good vitamins and minerals on
mhm,
board, chances are your body's going to start to detox some of those things by itself.
right. And are things stored, like, are they just stored at haphazard? Like, okay, this is where it just sort of happens to land in, it's flowing around in the blood and it just sort of happens. Or are they attracted to different areas of the body?
Different things are attracted to different places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mercury likes to go to the brain,
Yeah.
lead likes to go to the bones. It's different. If you actually, it's interesting. If you test a woman's lead levels in different parts of their cycle, you'll
Mhm.
actually get fairly different results
Oh, wow.
because of the fluctuation of the bones.
Interesting.
So yeah, they do have certain places they go,
Mhm.
certain targets they like, and certain systems they disrupt.
Yeah. Okay. Um, which obviously then, again, that goes back to, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing versus just going, oh, somebody told me to try this detox or try this, this supplement or this whatever, and it's like, that's going to help me with this. Like, um, you may or may not get results because you may get lucky and hit the right thing, but
Mhm.
chances are you probably won't. And
You
then,
might spend a lot of money in the process trying to figure it out.
right, and then of course you're going to be, sitting there going, like, somebody else comes along, or they run into you and say, okay, well, we need to test and do this. Ah, no, I've tried that before, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right. And
I
that's,
hear that a lot. Our practitioners tell, they do like clinical chats and stuff like
mhm,
that to make sure that case reviews and make sure everything is, as optimal as we can get it. And there's a lot of stories about people who are like, "Oh, heavy metals, yeah, I'm good there. I tested those." And then they dive into how they tested them, and they're just like, "This was inaccurate.
yeah,
This is not the correct way to test. Like
yeah,
this didn't tell you anything."
yeah. Yeah. Well, and that goes back to, again, like if you've got symptoms and you don't know what it is, and you go to a doctor who doesn't know necessarily the in depth of how these things can happen and change and affect you, and they do a normal blood test and everything comes back normal, I mean, I'm sure you get people like that all the time that come in and go like, okay, I'm frustrated. I saw this doctor, he said everything's normal. I saw that doctor, said everything's normal, and it's not normal. I don't feel normal.
Yeah, that was me. That was my story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was, I went to 6 different doctors. I
Oh
was
my
young.
gosh.
I was probably 20, 21.
Hmm.
6 different doctors, including the best one in my town, the
Yeah.
best doctor.
Yeah.
They all either said they couldn't find anything or I was making it up,
Wow.
which led me down the rabbit hole. And I ended up getting into biohacking, and I tried, I don't know, $50,000 of random stuff
Hmm.
that did about nothing,
Yeah.
until I found the root, which was mercury toxicity.
Hmm.
Dr. K, our physician, he was the
Yeah.
one that pulled all the mercury out of me through his
Yeah.
protocols. And from there, treatment by treatment, I got a little better.
Hmm.
And I kind of stuck with it, and I've been getting better ever since, to the point at which a few years ago I told him, I was like, listen, you want to, if you want to open your own shop, call me. So he called
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's cool. And I've heard two different sides of this. I guess the camp that you're in from a medical standpoint, that I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you can't detox mercury. It's just, it stores up, it stores up, it stores up. You can't get rid of it. And then other people that have said, yeah, you can, but it's like the process is super long. It's super painful. It's super, like, it's not worth it. Which to me, I'm like, well, how could it not be worth it if it's like, if you know it's a problem and you want to get rid of it? I think anybody would pay whatever it takes to get rid of it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If you can figure out that's what it is,
Hmm.
right? But obviously, the camp that says it's just going to keep storing and you can't do anything about it is wrong.
I have no idea how they've come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear, like it's documented in literature,
Yeah.
that with the right protocols, the right chemical agents, you can bind and excrete mercury from the body. And we can show this in our clinic, I don't know, 20 or 30 times a week.
Right.
We can show this,
Yeah.
like, very, very clearly with data.
Yeah.
You can see it in research studies. It is detoxable,
Yeah.
100%. It is detoxable.
Yeah.
To the other camp, that it's absolutely miserable and takes forever,
Hmm.
there is potential, if you are super, super toxic, that, yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Right.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But most people, when they're saying it takes forever and it's miserable,
Hmm.
they're referring to supplement-based protocols and protocols that are not
Hmm.
overseen by medical professionals.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not,
And
it's not, it's not maximizing the opportunity
yep,
of what's going on, basically.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the science, right, mercury has a thiol bond,
Hmm.
right? There's 2 thiol bonds on mercury. And to pull mercury out of the body, you need something that is going to grab both of those,
Hmm.
locks it on, and then it moves out of the body.
Right.
And if you look at the number of chemicals or substances that have 2 thiol bonds, this is not a 20-item list,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's about 3, or 4 if you count things that are not accessible anymore.
Gotcha.
There was an agent they used in the 50s that is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I heard it mentioned on Grey's Anatomy, which I laughed. It was like a more recent season. I was like, that hasn't been used in decades. But you've got all these things you hear online about detoxing mercury. They're almost all a single thiol bond, which means a weak, non-permanent bind.
Right.
Which means it is very difficult to excrete from the body.
Yeah.
Will it remove some? Yes, it will. But it will also move a bunch of it around in the process.
Right.
So
And then you're trading one problem for another.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got to look at true chelators, of which really, when you get down to it, there are 2 that work pretty effectively. And one is an IV-based one, and one is an oral-based one. I'm not going to go into crazy detail, because I'm not a medical practitioner.
Right.
But if you are trying to do it by yourself at home, please just go see someone who knows what they're talking about first.
Right.
Because there is one supplement that you can buy that will have two thiol bonds, and it's alpha lipoic acid.
Mhm.
And if you do it incorrectly, yes, it will take forever and you will be utterly miserable.
Yeah. Um, well, and it's funny because I took that for a while, based on recommendations from, actually it's not towards me, but just I was helping someone who was going through liver issues and wound up receiving a liver transplant, thankfully. But in dealing with the holistic doctor that was working with her and helping her through staying alive basically until she could get the transplant, he was like adamant, like everybody needs to be taking this because of the health benefits that it can provide by helping downstream getting stuff out of the body.
It is a very powerful antioxidant.
Yeah.
But it is not something that should just be thrown in every multivitamin like it kind of
Right.
is.
Right.
So like if you actually look at our multivitamins that we have in our clinics, we do not have alpha lipoic acid as one of the ingredients.
Yeah.
We have a confirmation bias because a lot of people
Mhm.
that end up seeing us have high mercury.
Right.
So it's not something we're just going to give to someone and be like, this is going to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and speaking of multivitamins, like in one of the things that I think a lot of people, because I get that question a lot, what multivitamin should I be? What's the best one? And I always like, I refer back to, like you said before, like, what have you tested for? What are you low on? What do you like? Because you could take a multivitamin and hey, it's great, but if you only need like 3 of the things that are in there, go buy those 3 things.
Mhm.
And then of course the binding agents that work with them, but you don't necessarily need the entire multivitamin that's been sold to you.
Yeah. So multivitamins, that's a topic.
Yeah.
You want to get into a rabbit hole. I actually don't like any multivitamins.
Right.
The only reason that our clinics stock multivitamins is if people say, I won't take more than one thing.
Mhm.
Then it's usually better than nothing
Yeah.
if they have
Yeah.
deficiencies.
Right.
So I usually have about 5 supplements that I've seen that probably 90% of people should be on a regular basis. Omega-3s,
Right. Yep.
creatine, a trace mineral complex,
Mhm.
a fat-soluble vitamin complex, and a B complex.
Right.
And essentially those are, to some degree, the makeup of a multivitamin, but you're going to get
Right.
much better forms and dosages if you buy them
Yep.
individually.
Right.
That being said, the way our clinics operate are supplements by prescription only.
Mhm.
So unless they're indicated by lab work, it is
Right.
not recommended by any of our practitioners.
Right. Because ideally, you want to get to where you're eating a diet and nutrition-wise that you're getting the majority of what you need.
Yeah, and I will challenge that a bit because I've seen some of the studies with the nutritional content of our food.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's hard to get there.
I think the last one I read, and it's been, so don't quote me, it's been years, but it's something like you have to eat around 10,000 calories a day
Mhm.
of high quality organic food just to get the right mineral content.
Right.
So you should be able to get most of your B vitamins. You should be able to get most of your fat solubles with a good,
Right.
healthy diet.
Right.
The minerals,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Right. Well, and and of course one of the big things you mentioned, omega-3s, and I'm a big proponent of that because most people that are eating a normal standard American diet are way off on the ratio of omega-6, omega-3. And and that shows up in multiple different chronic diseases,
Yeah.
that develop over time.
Yeah. So I'm doing a self experimentation right now.
Mhm.
You might appreciate this. Um, by the way, everything I say on here, not medical
Right.
advice. I am
Right.
not a practitioner. This is just 2 guys talking.
Yep. Yep.
But I like to experiment on myself.
Mhm.
And so I went no omega-3s for a year,
Oh, wow.
right? I did my omega check. My omega's ratios are terrible.
Yeah.
And so now I'm running a ultra high dose omega-3 protocol to see how fast I can get them to optimal.
Right. That's pretty
And
cool.
so I am 6 weeks in, so I'm probably going to test in 4 or so weeks, and we're going to see. Been doing about 8 grams a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Highly don't recommend that, by the way.
Right.
That's like a massive blood thinning effect. So
Right.
this is just it's purely an experiment, and it won.
Yeah. Well, but I do a lot of that stuff myself too. It's like somebody says, somebody comes to me and asks me, hey, is this, I saw this or read this, or, this influencer who's supposed to be a health person has said you should be doing this. And if I think there's legitimacy to it, I usually try it out myself, right?
Mhm.
And see and go like, oh yeah. And when I first, this was probably, God, it's probably been 7 years now that I read about the omega-3, omega-6 being
Mhm.
off, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much mine's off, because I tend to eat healthy. I'm not fast food and all that stuff, but blood tests, and I was like, oh, I'm a little, my ratio's a little off. And so I started doing the omega-3s every day. And at first I was doing it 3 times a day.
Mhm.
And immediate, like within 2 days, mood balanced. I stopped having highs and lows, stopped having these extreme, like, and I was like, whoa, now this is cool.
Mhm.
Like, and now I'm down to, I just take one a day, and I'm like, because I've balanced the rest of it through food and what I'm doing, I've
Mhm.
learned. Um, and so it's like, but I can tell now if I start having big mood swings, or, things that happen, that I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I got to bump it up for
Yeah.
a couple of days because I'm off,
Mhm.
and, but I think that's one of those things that you can only get to that point when you've truly streamlined and gotten everything else out of your body that you can, that's
Mhm.
disrupting things, because otherwise you don't know what's causing it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it could be it could be omega-3s, but it very well could be some kind of toxin.
Right.
Um, well, and this is the trap that I fell into, right? It was all of the wellness influencers, all those
Mhm.
online people listening to them being like, "Oh, I need this supplement.
Yeah.
I'm deficient in this. Oh, all my symptoms match that."
Right.
Like, "Oh, maybe I need to do this workout protocol because it's better for my cortisol, or maybe I
Mhm.
need to do this or cold plunge
Right.
or whatever it might have been."
Yeah.
I did all the things, and
Mhm.
none of it helped.
Yeah.
None of it helped at all. And then I detoxed the mercury, and now I can actually feel the difference from a lot of those things.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's I think that's another thing that, like, people need to realize is, and not hit that frustration level of like, oh, nothing works for me. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, that's a signal that there's still something wrong,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? That's not, if 90% of people that do this or take this supplement or do the experience these effects from it, positive or negative, and you don't get any of that stuff, that should tell you, not that that doesn't work. That should tell you there's something else.
There's something else. Yeah. There's something underlying that you've gotta hit first.
Yeah.
So, and
And
I'm just the biggest believer in testing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so like realistically, if you have health goals, right? Or you have health symptoms, and you're gonna go online to Instagram and
Mhm.
you're gonna try some stuff. And most people do this. They're just like, I got an ad because they know what you're looking for, they
Oh,
know
sure.
what you like, and they're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah.
You will probably spend thousands and thousands of dollars on stuff that may or may not work.
Mhm.
When is if you would have just in the front did the testing
Right.
and figured out exactly what it was and then made a plan for it, probably would have been a
Yeah.
lot less money.
Right. Yeah. And chances are this stuff does work if you fit into the right,
Yeah.
if you've got an issue going on beforehand that is disrupting that function, then you're trying to put a square in a round hole,
Hmm.
and you've got to make yourself a circle so you can get into the round hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So it's
so
about it's
go ahead.
about individuality, right?
Mhm.
Everyone's lab work looks different.
Yeah.
Everyone's genetic profile looks different.
Right.
Everyone's environmental profile looks different. Everyone's history with toxins looks different.
Mhm.
Lifestyle, like, and if you're not doing something specific for you, you're just doing something that was marketed
Mhm.
on Instagram, like you said,
Yeah.
it's the round peg in a square hole.
Yeah.
It's just probably not going to be the perfect fit.
Right.
But there are a few things. across the board that like I would actually stand behind.
Mhm.
Creatine is probably
Yeah.
one of them. Like just about everybody probably should be taking creatine.
Yeah.
You've got the muscle benefits, you've got the energy benefits, the ATP benefits, you get the hydration, the brain benefits.
Right.
It's one of those things that most people should take.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because, and I try to explain this to people in this way. It's like, if you don't want to go get the testing and you don't want to like, or maybe you can't afford it, or maybe you don't have a doctor that can in your area that can direct you that way. If you do 80% or if you try and do 100% of what you have researched is, okay, this is healthy stuff, healthy nutrition, healthy, these things that work for most people, you can probably get 80% there.
Yeah.
And it's that other 20% that it's like, okay, because my cells and your cells, they're essentially the same. The genetic makeup is what functions they do can be what's that 20% is.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, okay, if you do all this stuff and you can get 80% there and you can be happy and relatively symptom free, then we get back to what you talked about at the beginning. Is like, okay, I can have a long, happy, functioning life without being the extreme. I have to do every single biohacking thing out there every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, that's 100% correct. Like it comes down to if you're going to start anywhere, start with stuff that's free and low cost, switching out the things in your life that are easy, that you have control on.
Right.
Movement, food, water.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that right there for most people is going to drastically change the dial.
Yeah. And then when you get to other points, because a lot of these things, and I try to explain this to people too in a way that like, okay, one meal is not going to kill you, unless you choke on it. Like one meal is not going to kill you, right? It's that compounding of exposure to, and it's the same thing with toxins. It's like most things, one toxic exposure is not going to kill you because obviously there's all kinds of limits and what we're allowed to be exposed to
Yeah.
but it's that compounding, years and years and years. And so if you come to the point, and if maybe you're listening today and you're like, okay, today's the day I'm going to change. I'm going to start looking at everything in my house. I'm going to start, managing where things are and how I get exposed to things. Then it can be, you can basically pretty much stop the exposure increase and then deal with the rest of it as time goes on.
Yeah. Now, here is where I will play devil's advocate a little bit. When it comes to, when I say the 80-20, right? When it comes to the movement, the water, and good nutrition.
Right.
I am talking for most people.
Right.
I am not talking for people dealing with chronic disease.
Mm-hmm.
Because having clean water and getting out and going on walks and having good nutrition is not going to fix your Lyme disease.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's just not. Like it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Because there's too much going on. There's too many biochemical cascades going on that those things are not going to fix it. So if you do have chronic disease, are those things going to help you generally feel better? Yes. Is that going to fix it? No. And chances are taking some supplements, not going to do it either.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And you mentioned Lyme disease, and I've had a couple of experts on in the past talk about Lyme disease, and I was shocked at the number of people that truly have exposure. At least at first I was shocked, and then I thought back and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been bitten by a tick because we used to go camping all the time as a kid, and granted, that may not be as popular an activity as it was back in the late 70s, early 80s. But still, it's like the number of people that have been exposed, whether it's shown up in symptoms or not. And my sister had to be treated for it. So it's not something that is, I think, more common than most people would know, right?
It really is. We have a large percentage of our population of patients that have Lyme disease. They come seek us out for it. It's one of those things that we have a very specific protocol that Doc has written. There's a sequence of events, right? It's knocking out co-infections. There's certain ways he does things to set up the treatment.
Yeah.
But it it has been honestly a blessing to see a lot of the results that our physician has been able to, get people through
Mhm.
his protocols because we're seeing with quantifiable testing
Mhm.
full remission.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So like it's a thing. There is hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things that there is so many things with it's like, don't get exposed to this, don't get exposed to that, cut this, like, but and you sort of touched on this earlier that the body can handle so many things
Hmm.
and can naturally take care of it itself if it's at a low enough level.
Hmm.
It's when we get it that's too high that it's we need to seek help, right? To
Yeah.
be able to push us over the edge. And that help may not be those super massive expensive protocols that take forever. It may be just a wake up call to go like, oh hey, stop doing this, this, and this, and things will take care of themselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I know one of those things is alcohol, right? Start get off alcohol for a little bit, and you'll notice that your body is going to start fixing and repairing some other things and start moving in a better way, right?
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine who just took a break from alcohol, and I hadn't seen him in like 3 or 4 weeks. And I ran into him, and I was like, dude, this is weird to say, but you're glowing. I was
Oh
like,
wow.
your skin is literally like brighter, your eyes are brighter, like you
Yeah.
have more life.
Yeah.
Like it's wild. And that's the only thing he changed.
Yeah. Yeah. But because we don't think of it as a toxin because it's a legal
Hmm.
item, to consume. But what it's doing, especially if you're drinking too much
Yeah.
on a regular basis, the toxicity level and what it does to your body and it changes in your body, it really is a toxin
Yeah.
internally.
Well, and if you actually look at how alcohol is processed, to effectively get rid of alcohol, the body has to transform it into acetaldehyde, which is
Mhm.
more toxic than alcohol.
Yeah,
So it basically metabolizes it into a more toxic substance in order to get rid of it.
in order to get rid of it. Wow. So,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
have a I
well,
have a whole podcast on
yeah,
alcoholism and stuff
yeah,
I dealt with in the past.
right,
So if anybody wants to go check that out, it's a whole thing. I can go tell my story, but
yeah,
I won't belabor that here.
right. But that's one of those things that you hear about, alcohol poisoning. Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't call it poisoning if it wasn't toxic,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know.
So
And so is there something that maybe is for the people out there that's like this is an everyday item that probably everybody uses and it's like, hey, you might want to either think twice about using this or maybe how you're using it, right? Like be more protective as far as using it around your home.
I have to pick one. Um,
Okay, give us a couple.
man. So cologne.
Really?
And the reason I pick cologne off the top is because it's so optional,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to wear cologne. Like we
Right.
have this I don't know stigma that we have to smell amazing all the time,
Right.
and like my goal is to smell like nothing.
Yeah.
I just want to be like neutral.
Yep.
But it's such an easy switch. It's an expensive product.
Sure.
So if you buy a non-toxic cologne, it's right about the same cost.
Mhm.
And when you get into what is in cologne or perfume,
Yeah.
you don't know. They don't legally have to list it.
Oh.
Yep, they list it as perfume, and this was like a lawsuit, I think, years and years ago that Chanel got passed.
Mhm.
And from a business perspective, it kind of makes sense because they didn't want people knowing what their ingredients were.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that has all kinds of endocrine disruptors in it,
Mhm.
and you could literally be spraying lower testosterone on you,
Right.
just just lowering my testosterone
Wow.
and making the switch literally costs nothing because cologne's
Yeah.
expensive
Right.
and the non-toxic stuff is the same cost.
Right.
Like that's a
Right.
really easy one.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and like you said, one of the things that I noticed when I really started to clean up my diet and clean up, in move towards trying to have a more balanced internal functioning system, um, and I'm an athlete and I run, I mean, I'm running a race this coming weekend, so I'm tapering for it. But I just finished 13 straight weeks of 50 plus miles a week. Like, so I'm running a lot, right? Like, so, and what's changed over the past, I'd say probably started about 5 years ago, when I really dialed things in, is that my sweat doesn't stink like
Mm-hmm.
hardly ever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like I can go through the day, and of course I use a non-toxic, non-aluminum
Mm-hmm.
deodorant, but like I go through the day and like nothing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'd rather smell like that
Mm-hmm.
than something else, whether it's from a sweat release or from a cologne. Like, I'm like, I just
Yeah.
don't need it. And I think that's a big indicator of like, because when you're, at least what I've seen, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but when your sweat really smells, that's your body releasing toxins and you're releasing stuff. And it's like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
where is that coming from? Right? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to think and go like, oh, why, if it smells that bad coming out, what's it doing inside?
Yeah. And partially for you, it's probably a factor of body fat as well,
Yeah.
right? A
Yep.
large portion of toxins are stored in body fat because that's one of the
Yep.
body's mechanisms for protection.
Yeah.
It's like, where can we get this that's not going to hurt anything?
Hmm.
Shove it in the adipose tissue.
Right.
And so when you're losing weight and you're sweating
Yeah.
and maybe you haven't lost weight in a long time, you're probably going to get that sweat
Right.
smelling.
Right.
But as you continue to exercise and you've maintained a lean body for a long time, you
Yeah.
get to that point where you're not diving into those adipose reserves. You've gotten rid of most of the base of toxins there,
Right.
and so it's kind of more of a clean output.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, but so longevity center, how can people like connect, find out what's going on, learn more about what you're doing, and see if it's something they need to dive into?
Yeah. So you can visit our website. It's the THELCOA.com,
Okay.
the Longevity Centers of America.com. You can check us out there. I honestly I hate podcasts that talk about like self promotion and products.
Right.
Like
Right.
we don't do that a lot. I just don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I don't like really pushing our brand per se on
Right.
podcast, but I
Right.
do like to push our podcast because
Right.
our
Okay.
podcast is education.
Yep.
So Longevity Unlocked.
Okay.
You can search us. You'll find it should be the first one that pops up.
Right.
We've got like 80 something episodes out now.
Nice.
We'll give you the links and everything so you can put it in the
Yeah.
bio. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, it is really like just me and Doc, just like educating.
Right.
We have a few guests on. Some people talk about their products, and I kind of attack them a little bit. Not gonna lie, I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm really aggressive. But I think we need more of that.
Right.
They're like, "Can we come on your podcast?" I'm like, "Sure," but I'm gonna be aggressive. And they're like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean,
but
we talked a little bit and touched a little bit about influencers and what they're putting out, and and that it's just causing a lot of confusion,
mhm,
right? And I think, because one of the things I deal with people is like when they ask me questions or do something, and I was like, and I come a little aggressive back, going like,
mhm.
okay, either you're going to prove yourself to me or you're going to back off and go like, yeah, I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I love to do that. I think more podcasting, more media needs disagreement.
Yeah.
I had one. I don't know who all your audience segments is, but I had one guy who they did they do like EMF blocking clothing, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And it was funny because we were like three-quarters of the way through the podcast. And I was like, dude, I got to tell you. And he's like, what? I was like, your underwear makes my balls sweat. And he was like, well, we do have it pretty good. We've been optimized for the cooling. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And he's
Still
like,
doesn't
well,
work.
what do you
Yeah.
wear now? I was like, merino wool.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, yeah, you're not going to beat that.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I think there should be more disagreement. I think there should
Right.
be more like truth and education. And that's really what we try to do on our podcast.
Right.
We usually keep it short. If you want to listen to us drone on forever with terrible audio and video quality, go listen to the
Right.
first ones.
Right.
But recently we've been keeping it kind of short and to the point and trying to keep it
Yeah.
relatively digestible.
Right. Cool.
Oh, and we give stuff away for free randomly.
Oh, cool.
Every few episodes,
awesome.
we just if you listen, there's like a code in the back of it. And if you call in and you're one of the first people to code, you just get something for free.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I like to talk about and discuss it from a longevity standpoint, and a lot of people don't like. I've even had people on Facebook be like, "You're nuts, dude. There's no way I would ever want to do that." Is that I've got this, and it just came to me. It wasn't like something that I'm like, oh, but it just came to me. I was like, oh, you should be able to live to 140. Like, why can't I live to 140? Like, especially at this day and age where there's so much technology coming out and so many different things that can give us the idea of what's going on internally so that we can adjust, and strive to that. Because I've had friends that have been like, dude, I don't want to live past 80. What are you talking about? And I'm like, man, that's a lot of years. If you go from 80 to 100, that's 20 more years, like of life that you could experience. And if though you experience it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the key with longevity is that it's not just, okay, I want to live to 100 because I want to live the last 10 years in an assisted living facility, sit in a bed waiting for people to come visit me. It's that I want to go to Europe and hike mountains or sit on a beach and somewhere, in the Caribbean.
Yeah. I want to eat the Mediterranean diet in the Mediterranean.
Right. And I've told people this, like, I as an athlete, I want to set a world record. And they're like, oh, what are you going to do it in? And I was like, well, I'm nowhere close right now. So I got to live to 100 so I can outlive everybody so that then I can be the fastest. Right.
If you outlive everybody, then you get the record.
Right. Like if I'm the only person left at 110 that's competing, I would pretty much have to have it. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've been to a lot of longevity conferences, and one thing that's talked about is escape velocity. Right. And it's the concept of every year that goes by, science figures out how to extend our lives by X number of years.
Right.
And so right now, the estimations are between 0.5 and 0.7 something. Yep. Right. So every year that goes by, science figures out how to extend your life by roughly a half a year.
Right.
Theoretically.
Yep.
And escape velocity is the concept that number is increasing. And so eventually we will get to the point that every year that passes, science will figure out how to extend life by 1 year.
Right.
And then 1.01.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's the escape velocity.
Yeah. And
then potentially science can keep increasing, and then we can actually massively extend lifespans.
Right. Yep. And so I look at that and go, well, I got to keep my body in shape.
Yep.
Right. Because if I let it fail, because there is a point where it's like, okay, you're not going to replace this. You're not going to replace that. You're not going to, right. Especially if it becomes a point where it's like, well, we had to take that out because it wasn't functioning anymore. And now you're living on medication to supplement that, whatever organ that wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, that's going to help you decrease your lifespan a lot. So,
yeah, living as science progresses, even the things now that are expensive, that are like life extension treatments, they're going to be cheap in 5-10 years.
Right.
And so it's going to be more accessible. So if, the peak of science is like an extending your life 0.7 years every year right now, but only billionaires can afford that.
Right.
In 10 years, that's going to be the average guy.
Yeah.
So if we can figure out how to make it an extra 10, an extra 20, that's that game changer you're talking about.
Yep. And so, yeah, and I've gotten one of the scales recently that gives you all the metabolic information and all the, and so I'm 51, but it tells me I'm 38, my metabolic age. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the track, right? Like
there you
go. So as you talk about that, 10 or 20 years and what technology is going to do in that point, I may be 71 chronological age, but if I can stay in the, low 50s at that point, then that buys me a lot more time later on.
So. Yeah. There's a lot of exciting developments, and that's a whole separate podcast, but we've got 3D printing of organs. We've
Right.
got
Yep.
longevity small molecules. We've got gene therapies. We've got AI big data models that can take your
Yeah.
health and predict things 10, 20 years into the future. Like
Hmm.
it's coming and it's coming
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Longevity is going to be the #1 industry in the world in about 10 years. It's going to pass
Yeah.
oil and gas.
Yep. No, I believe it. Well, Kyle, I want to thank you for being a guest. It's been great.
Yeah. No, it's been good to be on. I enjoy talking toxins and longevity and just hanging out.
Yep. No, yep. It's been fun. Thank you. Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.